This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Since 1966, your source for state and national agribusiness news, and features for farmers and consumers about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. The Georgia Farm Monitor is produced by the state's largest general farm organization, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now, here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Bergamy.
Hey there, our first show of June 2016. As you can see, Kenny Bergamy off this week enjoying some well-deserved R&R. So for the next 30 minutes, you've got me all by myself. As always, though, we've got a great show for you. Coming up, we travel to Athens and sit down with the new Dean of UGA's College of Agricultural and Environmental Science, Sam Pardue, his take on the program as well as UGA Extension and the direction he sees them going in the future. Also on the program, are you one of the many producers hit hard by the H2A delays? Well, you're not alone. Today, we tackle the issue and hear the drastic measure one farmer took after he too was denied workers. And then later, Berry College. As you know, it's one of the premier ag schools in the country. Kenny Bergamy on how one of the school's programs is designed to prepare students for a career in animal-related industries. These stories and so much more starting right now on the Georgia Farm Monitor. On March 14th, Dr. Sam Pardue officially took the reins as UGA's new Dean and Director of the College of Agricultural and Environmental Science. With a background in poultry science, his resume is impressive to say the least. National awards for student recruitment and teaching, owner of 3 patents, recipient of more than $2.5 million in grants, just to name some of his accomplishments during his time as Associate Dean of North Carolina State's Ag and Life Science Program. Well, recently I sat down with Dr. Pardue to find out what his appointment means for the future of UGA, as well as cooperative extension. On a rainy day in Athens, Sam Pardue sits at his desk preparing for one of his many meetings since arriving on the UGA campus. According to Pardue, the majority of his time is spent neither reflecting or projecting. The way he sees it, now is the time for observing.
What I've been doing a lot is just listening to people, been traveling across the state. It's a big state, by the way, the largest landmass east of the Mississippi. And I've been to the north, to the south, to the Piedmont. And so really I spent the past 2 months trying to get out and meet people. And one of the things that I've been really impressed by is that how passionate people are about, first off, the University of Georgia, the College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, and agriculture. And that's a good mix.
Something else Dean Pardue has learned while traveling the state is the overwhelming appreciation the farmers have for UGA Cooperative Extension. That's an area Pardue says will continue to grow, especially in the urban areas of Georgia.
Well, you know, the reality is that the metropolitan area of Atlanta has a significant percent of the state's population. And extension has to be relevant not only in rural parts of Georgia, but also in the urban areas. And there's a number of programs, particularly youth-driven programs that we're very proud of, that we interact with young men and young women, build their leadership capability. But there's also a huge interest in urban agriculture, whether it's somebody with, you know, a potted tomato plant on their terrace, or people who are interested in keeping their lawn in the finest manner that it could be in a sustainable way. So we're seeing, I think, renewed interest in areas that extension can really help foster in urban parts of the state.
Another valuable tool for Dean Pardue's tenure will be the ongoing relationship between the College of Ag and the Georgia Farm Bureau, something Pardue says must continue in order to educate those not associated with agriculture.
They have that ability to provide us connections at the county level of people who are interested in what we do here in the college and the role that Farm Bureau plays. You know, Farm Bureau has historically been a great supporter of youth programs, of opportunities for informing the greater population of the value of agriculture. It's true, only about roughly 1% of the U.S. population is directly involved in ag production. But we've got to be able to communicate to those other 99, and certainly Farm Bureau has been a great collaborator in providing a source of information and a voice that's trusted, and has provided us with a great partnership.
Dean Pardue went on to say that another big adjustment for him will be the state's passion for UGA football. He says he was absolutely amazed by the 90+ thousand that attended this year's spring game. Of course, his alma mater and former employer, North Carolina State, has traditionally been a basketball school. In other ag headlines, despite having that proverbial door slammed in his face, German drug and crop chemical giant Bayer says it is still confident of a future merger with Monsanto. The all-cash deal, worth a reported $62 billion, would have created the world's largest seed and pesticide company, but according to Monsanto, the bid was, quote, incomplete and financially inadequate. As for the reasons behind the potential merger, Bayer CEO Werner Baumann says it just makes sense.
The planned combination with Monsanto is such an extraordinary opportunity to create a global leader in the agricultural industry. Monsanto is a perfect match to our agriculture business. We would combine complementary skills with minimal geographic overlap. We at Bayer have a leading position in crop protection, and Monsanto is extremely strong in seeds and traits. So jointly, we would be an innovation powerhouse to address farmers' future needs. This is particularly exciting in advancing digital farming.
Over the years, farmers across Georgia have struggled using federal programs to employ documented workers for their fields, and that was the case for one Tattnall County farmer who decided to come up with a creative solution to harvest his Vidalia onions. Damon Jones has the story.
Drive through southwest Georgia this time of year, and you're likely to see hundreds of migrant workers in the field gathering one of the state's signature crops, the Vidalia onion. However, that's not the case for Gary Ray of Ray Farms, whose request for workers this harvesting season was denied by the government. And with more than 400 acres of onions needing to be picked, a quick solution was in order. And as it turns out, that answer was hundreds of miles away in the form of this onion gathering tractor.
Well, we bought it from a man in Mississippi that had tried to grow onions and it didn't work out for him. And my brother found it on the internet or somewhere. And the good Lord sent it to us, I reckon.
And so far, so good, as Ray is close to wrapping up his harvest, and this tractor has been everything he's hoped for, as it's been in the field from the beginning until the end.
Well, to start with, you got a plow that plows them up, windrows them, and then you turn around and let them dry good, and then that machine will just pick them up, and it'll top them, and they grate them on the top, and then we stick them in a bin box.
While this equipment is used on onion farms all across the country, that's not the case here in Tattnall County, where this is the only tractor of its kind in the field. That's because they have always been gathered by hand, as the Vidalia onion is much more delicate than your typical onion. So for the tractor to work and high quality standards still be met, certain precautions must be taken.
Well, you got to let them dry. You can't clip them green. I mean, the top's got to be pretty well dry in the field before you can clip them. It's worked excellent. You just got to wait for the onions to get dry, but it works good. Well, the biggest thing, we're going to have to start moving more room around the ends where you can turn around, because you got to have room to turn it around and all.
Even though this might take a little more time and effort, it has still gotten the attention of the surrounding onion producers.
Well, it just speaks for itself. I mean, they see it working. It does good. It does good. Your land's got to be level, but if it's pretty level, it'll do a good job. Yeah, I think it will. There's been a lot of farmers come by and looked at it.
After a year of this experiment, Ray says he plans on sticking with this harvesting process and encourages others to look into it. While the equipment was a significant upfront cost, he does believe it will be well worth it in the long run.
Well, you don't have to worry about the labor. We take about 8-10 head and do ours, where usually it takes 100 head. Yeah, I believe you'll pay for all of it in 2 years easy.
Reporting from Tattnall County, I'm Damon Jones for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Damon, thank you so much. Up next, we continue our focus on H2A. Mark Wildman travels to Alma, Georgia, and talks to Congressman Buddy Carter about a possible solution. That's next when the Georgia Farm Monitor continues.
My name is Happy Wyatt, and I am the manager here at the Macon State Farmers Market, and I also am a representative for the Georgia Grown program through the Department of Agriculture. Yes, Happy is my name. My mama named me Happy when she was pregnant with me. My daddy deployed to Vietnam, and back in the 60s, you didn't know whether you were having a girl or a boy, so Happy was a nice gender-neutral way for her to connect him with the pregnancy, since I am the firstborn in the family. So it was just a neat way of keeping him involved in this. He got to come home when I was about 1.5 years old. So Happy just was it, you know. I love it because when I introduce myself to people, the first thing that happens is they smile and they laugh, and you can't go wrong with that. It's a great conversation piece. It really has been a lot of fun growing up with it. The farmers markets, as I said earlier, are here for the people. We keep the cost down to a minimum. Farmers don't have to pay anything to come out here and set up and sell. We want to use the markets as an opportunity for people in all areas to be able to get fresh fruits, vegetables, and produce. And items. You know, we do have the jams and jellies. We have the yellow root teas out here. We have food that's been, you know, the root vegetables are already cut up, processed, and in a bag for you. Trying to help get a healthier meal to all the people in the community. This particular area is a food desert. There's no grocery stores close by for the people to be able to walk to get. That's why I'm proud that we now have a meat market again out here on the market. They can go over, they can pick up their dinner. Everything they need to provide their family with a healthy dinner can come right here off of this market. The Georgia Grown part of my job is an opportunity to get out and cover a minimum of 17 counties and talk to people about what they're producing. Georgia Grown is anything made, manufactured, produced, or value added, so it's not always a food item. Sometimes it's a soap, sometimes it's a shop that does t-shirts, you know, but the money is still staying local. And that's what's amazing, is meeting these people and knowing that if I buy a jar of their jelly, that money's staying here in Georgia. It's not going out of state. And we're growing our economy and we're growing our businesses. And that's just, it's an amazing thing to be a part of. And it's growing by leaps and bounds. And it does flow over to the market as well. I met a lady that was wanting to start selling her jellies. She didn't know the proper way to go about it. We put her in touch with Consumer Protection. Not only is she now in the Georgia Grown program, she's coming out here and selling on the weekends as well. You know, so it works out. They both blend together beautifully. It sounds funny to people when I explain it like this, but this is the honest truth. I'm the type of person that when I walk into a store and I see an item on the shelf that I know the producer, I know their story, I know what they've gone through, and wow, here they are in Kroger in the Georgia Grown section, and I get goosebumps. I love seeing people do well with their dreams, and I love making the connection.
Quick reminder for you, if you missed any part of this story or others on today's program, you can still see them in their entirety at our YouTube channel. That is the Georgia Farm Monitor. The archive's continuing to build, folks. You can find stories on there dating as far back as 2009. And once you're done watching all those great stories, just keep clicking like the Georgia Farm Monitor Facebook page we have set up for you. If you have a story idea or if you just want to leave us a comment or suggestion, feel free, send us a message either on Facebook or at the address listed below. That is news@farm-monitor.com. Well, trouble processing paperwork at the federal level has caused a labor shortage for many Georgia growers, including blueberry producers. Recently, Congressman Buddy Carter was in Alma to meet with a large group of growers who voiced their concerns about the government's H2A program. The Monitor's Mark Wildman has the story.
For Georgia growers, timing is everything when it comes to harvesting their crops. And when the crops are ready to be picked, workers have to be on site, or the entire crop will literally rot in the field. This year, problems with processing paperwork for the government's guest worker program, known as H2A, has caused many farmers to not have labor on time and lose a lot of money.
In 3 weeks, we won't need any hardly. But the last week, we needed 3 times as many as what we had, because it's so crucial to pick the fruit on time. And we had a rain event Monday. I mean, that just changes everything. We'd have had them all, if all blue fruit could have been picked by before the rain, the farmers would be a lot better shape. But we just didn't have the labor to get to it at that time.
In Alma, a large number of farmers were on hand to share their frustration with 1st District Congressman Buddy Carter.
In my mind, there are 2 things that we need to really pay attention to and focus on. One is the immediate relief that we need, hopefully salvage something out of this crop this year. But secondly is to make sure that this doesn't happen again. There's no excuse for it to happen again. And that's what we want to make sure we do is we learn from it. Whatever problems they've got, we get them corrected and it doesn't happen again.
At the meeting, many producers like Waycross farmer Philip Mixon tell stories of a frustrating process of paperwork, having to use regular mail for delivery, the extreme high cost of the program, and the amount of money these delays have cost his farm.
I was able to pull help from other friends, farmers that had help, that you know, maybe their crop weren't ready. We all pulled together. I've managed to save my crop as far as, you know, not a total loss, but I did lose revenue. My best guess right now is that a minimum of $500,000 that I lost in revenue because it weren't harvested on time. If I had not got it harvested or had my friends to help out, us pull together, I would have lost the whole crop. And my crop this year, the size it is probably around, on the early varieties, it's probably around a $5 million crop.
Growers who use the H2A program have to file a lot of paperwork and have to make sure everything is correct, and it costs them a lot of money up front. So farmers feel if delays continue, it will seriously threaten not only their farming operation, but the entire ag sector.
When you try to peel back the layers of that onion, it's just unbelievable, the bureaucracy up there. Well, we're not going to take this and we're not going to just let it get by without at least finding out, again, what we can do to solve this immediate problem, and perhaps more importantly, make sure it never happens again.
In Alma, I'm Mark Wildman for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Mark, thank you very much. And Georgia, not the only state feeling the sting of visa delays. Michigan Farm Bureau President Carl Bednarski says the backlog caused one vineyard to receive their workers approximately 3 weeks after their ideal harvesting date.
It's incidents like this that really creates havoc on our industries where we're so time sensitive on harvesting or taking care of different aspects of our commodities that we grow. Well, Michigan, with our diversity in having the fruits and vegetables and also having dairy in the state, the fruit and vegetable individuals are really having a tough time with the getting the labor in at the opportune time.
Bednarski says the new e-approval system is a step in the right direction, but not a blanket fix for short-term labor visa delays. He says the process still has a long way to go. All right, time for our final break. When we come back, why the pre-vet program at Berry College just may be the best kept secret in the state, and how students in the program say it's giving them the valuable knowledge they need to someday pursue a career in animal science.
Be able to stand back and look at the farm as a whole and see the bale sitting out in the field, the fresh mowed, you know, hay that's been mowed for a week or two that's greening up just like a yard would, and you know, that's probably my favorite part of farming. I'm Eric Precy. We live in Tuscarawas County, Ohio, kind of on the eastern part in the central part of the county. We operate about a 100-acre hay operation that we make anything from round bales to square bales and even some wet wrapped alfalfa.
I'm Shelly, and we are currently at the farm where we make hay. This happens to be my grandfather's farm. It's been in the family for approximately 5 generations, and I have a lot of good memories of being out here with Grandpa when I was little, and him taking care of his cattle or riding on the tractor. So lots of good memories have come from this place, and we're excited to get to be a part of it. I just enjoy being out here. I enjoy the scenery, the landscape, the peacefulness that comes along with it, and just getting to work hard and know that your hard work pays off. Farming is definitely a labor of love. It's hard work, it's dedication, it's ups, it's downs, and it really takes a lot of work to keep the farm going, but it's such an enjoyable thing.
We started this back in 2012, just 4 short years ago, and we started it with
you know, a few pieces of equipment, and over the course of 4 years, we've upgraded to some newer technologies to try and stay up with the times. And the fact that we started with approximately 20 or 25 acres and now we're at 100 acres and we're continuing to grow, and I think that's just the thing that makes me the most proud, is being able to grow in that short amount of time and starting from basically nothing.
And a big thanks to our friends at Ohio Farm Bureau for that story. And finally today, with the need for more students to get connected to agriculture and related fields, we here at the Monitor are constantly looking at schools that are helping young people find their place in Georgia's #1 industry. Today, we spotlight one college in Georgia that has found solid achievement in laying the groundwork for students with an eye on agriculture.
Berry College offers only one of 3 dedicated undergraduate animal science and pre-veterinary medicine curriculums in Georgia. Dr. George Gallagher, Berry College's Department Chair of Animal Sciences, told me Berry College has had a great success rate.
What it really amounts to at Berry College, we have 2 concentrations. One is set up for production and management, but the other one is a pre-vet, pre-professional science. So it's a curriculum that's really designed for a student that is interested in postgraduate school. Becoming a veterinarian or becoming a scientist being the big key. So what we try to do is to give an extremely well, in-depth foundation of the sciences as well as how they relate to animal science.
Gallagher said the school's program is designed to prepare students for a professional career in animal-related industries, which are so important to the ag industry at this time in history.
I think one of the keys with Berry, and one of the things that's been interesting, is there's no question that a very high proportion of our students that initially come here have the perception that small animal medicine is their key, particularly if they're coming from a more urban environment, which is pretty logical if they haven't had the experience with the livestock. And one of the reasons we really focus on that is to try to produce a student that has the skill sets to work not only with small animal but with large animal. And what we typically find is the more they're exposed to the large animal, the more they learn to appreciate the food animal situations and food animal production, and find that it is very important, and that money isn't everything, that while small animal is a component, being able to work directly with producers to help the animal and help the food industry is extremely important.
We talked to several of the current students enrolled at the program. They are very passionate about their academic studies.
Originally I wanted to be a vet. Growing up in Athens, there's a big vet school right there at UGA. I went to a lot of programs there. But probably after I decided to come to Berry, my interest kind of changed, and as I got here I realized I wanted to do a little bit more research.
I work at the beef unit, so I get to work with the cows a lot, and I hadn't had a lot of experience doing that in the city, so it's a lot of fun. And I also do research with Dr. Gallagher, which is awesome because at a big school we wouldn't have those opportunities as an undergraduate.
It's been a lot of fun. I've gotten a lot of hands-on experience that I think will really benefit me. I want to go to vet school, so I think the experience I've gotten at Berry is more hands-on than I would have gotten anywhere else.
The professors on staff are connected to the student body, and they say the students will have the groundwork needed to take the next step as they aim for a professional career in animal-related industries.
I think it's a combination of an interest in both animal science and Berry College. You know, students and parents come here and they see Berry and they love it. And so, you know, they want to come to Berry. They hear about the animal science program. A number of our students that come to Berry hear about our acceptance into veterinary schools. We have a very strong pre-vet program, and so they hear the numbers of students that go to not only UGA but to a number of other veterinary colleges as well once they finish at Berry. They also hear about the work program at Berry. You know, they get to work at the units, whether it's milking cows at the dairy or, you know, working with young horses at the equine center or whatever it may be. So they get the work experience, they get the hands-on, they get a very rigorous academic experience here as well. And I think it's a combination of all those things. As well as the student population, it's a smaller population, so the students all know one another. They all tend to like each other and get along, which is good. So it's a number of reasons that students want to come to Berry.
Again, that was Kenny Bergamy reporting, and that is going to do it for this week's edition of the Georgia Farm Monitor. Just a reminder, for all the latest ag info regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening down on the farm, be sure to check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll stay informed to see what's up in the world of farming and the Farm Monitor Show. Take care, everybody. We will see you next week right here on the Georgia Farm Monitor. Have a great week.